Between the mid-90s and early 2020, the average Ontario condo has shrunk by 35%, moving from 1,100 square feet to just 700 square feet. On the other hand, detached homes have gone from 2,000 square feet to 2,500 square feet. What is going on? Let's see. Hi everyone, Roch St-Georges. I'm a real estate broker. I help families, individuals buy, sell, and invest in Ottawa. If you've shopped around for an apartment condo, especially for new condos, you've realized how small these units are. In fact, the size difference between the older and newer condos is quite remarkable. According to the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, also known as MPAC, between the mid-90s and early 2020, the average Ontario condo has shrunk by 35%, going from 1,100 square feet to 700 square feet. Now, how can MPAC track these changes? Well, MPAC determines the assessed value for all Ontario properties by reviewing what buyers paid for similar properties nearby. To do this, they also use data such as property size, location, condition, age of the home, and structures such as garages and pools. They then provide this assessed value to the municipality, which applies a municipal tax rate to generate your property tax bill. Now, why are condos getting smaller? Well, in my opinion, there's a few reasons for this. The first one being that freehold properties such as a detached home, townhomes, are rapidly increasing in price, which is forcing some buyers to purchase a condo unit, which tends to have a less expensive price tag. The second is that land for development in large metropolitan areas is rising, and cost of materials and labor is also rising. In turn, developers are choosing to build more units on the same parcel of land and or make units smaller to increase profits. Development charges in many cities are also rising rapidly. For example, the city of Ottawa has increased their development charges in October. They are now at $20,000 and will be increasing them again in April 2023 by 8.6%. Finally, a third reason is that condo buyers in Ottawa and across the country, many of them are investors buying pre-construction to sell later on for a profit or to simply hold and rent long-term to a tenant. These investors tend to prefer one-bedroom and studio condos that could be easily rented out or sold. Builders are often aware of this and factor this into the design. The lender often requires the builder to achieve a certain level of pre-construction sales to start the process, so this all plays out very nicely for the builder. Now here's an example from right here in Ottawa at 340 Queen Street. We have the Claridge Moon condo building, which is scheduled for completion in February 2023. This building is located right on top of the Lion Street LRT station, so a great location for those looking to buy and then rent out the units to tenants. Now here's the price sheet from this condo building from June 2020, not long after their launch. In red are the one bedrooms and studio units that have sold, while the yellow are other types of units, so 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. We can clearly see that the majority of buyers at the launch are purchasing 1 bedrooms and studio units, which are often less expensive than the other 2 and 3 bedroom options. If you're curious, there are still some studio units available in this project starting at $862 per square foot and some 1 bedroom units starting at $815 per square foot. So back to the shrinking condos. Here's a global news article. We see that Greg Martino from MPAC, he's a vice president and chief evaluation and standards officer. He said that an increase in land values across the province, particularly in areas with a strong demand for housing, is likely the primary reason for this trend. As those land values have increased to make the project more economically feasible or viable, more units are being built on a single property or a single parcel of land, Martino says. This has meant that those individual units on those lands have gotten smaller. Now, in Ontario, Markham seems to be the market where this is most prevalent. Condos have shrunk 45% in the last 25 years, according to MPAC. We got David Omborski, a housing expert with the Toronto Metropolitan University, that said a trend towards a smaller apartment is no surprise. Over time, rent prices have gone up, construction costs have gone up, So you'd expect the response from an economic perspective to be to shrink the size of the units. Developers knew a large percentage of the buyers in a new condo are investors. And he said they wanted to be able to cover a good percentage of their mortgage costs with a rent payment. Small units make that easier, he said. So the CEO of West End Home Builders Association, which is an advocate group made up of 300 members in the new home construction business, says there are massive supply constraints in terms of the availability of land, and you're both getting smaller units but also getting bigger buildings because these costs can be diversified or spread out throughout more units. Now, in my opinion, the supply constraint sometimes comes from large developers acquiring land and then often waiting many years before starting to build. In some ways, they are controlling how many condos are being built and released to the market. If they have a large enough presence in the city and other active projects in the city, they are at times capable of maintaining high prices for their units by doing so. So new condos are getting smaller, but detached homes in Ontario have gone the other way, moving from approximately 2,000 square feet to roughly 2,500 square feet over that same period. Figures released by Statistics Canada in April confirmed that the country's estimated 7.8 million single detached homes made up about 53% of Canada's housing supply in 2021. Down a percent from 2016's data. Single detached homes are being outpaced by apartments and row houses. So large detached homes are getting bigger, but not everyone can afford these. With the rising cost of housing, we are starting to have more and more row house type properties being built. We are also seeing these builders offering two types of row house properties to cater to different budgets. The first one being the executive style townhomes, which is more of the classic model. It has a backyard. It starts about at 1,500 square feet. And the other model is the urban or avenue townhouse, which has a front yard, but oftentimes no rear yard, and starts at 1,300 square feet or so. As an example, when it comes to price, in the neighborhood of Barrhaven, Minto has executive townhomes starting at $749,000, while urban townhomes start at $634,000. That's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Thank you so much for listening. If you're curious about how MPAC calculates your property's assessed value, you can visit the MPAC website and log into the About My Property section. That's it. If you'd like to discuss real estate with me, please reach out at my email and phone number that is on the screen. Si vous voulez discuter d'immobilier avec moi, vous pouvez me contacter utilisant l'information à l'écran. Merci beaucoup. Ciao.